Hey, good morning, everyone. Dennis Kay here with Belize Islands Real Estate. Hey, listen, I know that I've been missing in action on YouTube for a while. The reason for that is manyfold, but first of all, Steph and I were celebrating our 30th wedding anniversary the past couple of months. We celebrate in style, and we have been doing a lot of traveling, having people come into the hometown where we now live here in Nice, and just doing a lot of there's a lot of fun things together. And also, in addition to that, Israel and I have been working with several clients on quite a few purchases over the last 30 to 60 days. So there's been a lot of contracts to write, closings to follow up on. We've been taking some new listings, and we've been funneling a lot of those new listings to our new website. And so I haven't had the opportunity lately to put those new listings on our YouTube channel. So if you see I've been missing in action, those are the reasons. On top of that, Steph and I have been really busy planning our next Belize trip, our investor trip to Belize here. We're going to be there March 14th through the 28th. And man, there are just so many clients who have booked to be able to come down and spend some time with us. So, look, if you haven't yet booked your tickets, and if you can just get down there, even just for 2 or 3 days, Steph and I have a lot of cool things planned. We can invite you in on some of our investor tours. We're going to be going around the island, looking at different properties, different opportunities. And this is going to be especially helpful for some of you who have never been there before, or if you have been there before, maybe to take a look at some areas that you haven't yet had the opportunity to explore or drive down deep into to see what is the potential now and what is the future potential in some of these areas. So, that being said, the reason for this particular video today is I've gotten some emails lately from potential clients who have been asking some really good questions, and I wanted to be able to answer them in detail. And video is the best way to do that because I just get to be real. I get to give my personal thoughts, and that's all these are. They're my personal thoughts based on my experience. Another agent or another broker might have a different opinion, but I'm just going to give you my thoughts as I see it. And with the knowledge that I'm also an extremely conservative, careful investor myself, and I always try to minimize risk. And if you want to maximize your risk, then you can do something else. But usually, most of the things that I promote, that I stand behind, tend to be fairly secure as far as the risk to reward ratio. So, first of all, let me get into a couple of these emails. I'm not going to show you the entire email out of privacy, but I will tell you a little bit about the people, the kind of questions they're asking. So, the first email is from Michael. Michael, if you're watching this, congratulations on looking at Belize. Fantastic. And I really appreciate the detail that you went into in your email. So, first of all, Michael says he is 63 years old from Vancouver, Canada, and he's looking to make a little bit of a life transition here in the near future, quitting the full time work and looking at spending, let's see, 3 or 4 months of the rainy and cold season outside of Vancouver and getting down to somewhere warm. And he says there he's been considering Belize, Costa Rica, or Mexico. So that's good. Three great places. I love all three. Haven't really spent a lot of time in Costa Rica, but of course, Belize, a lot of different areas in Mexico. And Michael says that what they're looking to do is to buy a place outside of Canada. So, for example, buy a place in Cabo or Belize and Costa Rica, where that is going to be their home base for the 3 or 4 months during the wintertime. And then when they go back to Vancouver, they're going to rent a small condo. It looks like, let's say, a father-in-law suite in his father-in-law's house, something small where they can spend the time there in Vancouver. So it's a little bit of sort of like you could say a reverse type where some people might keep their primary residence in the United States or Canada and then simply rent something for 2 or 3 months when they come down to Mexico or Belize. So let's kind of talk about the scenario and the pros and cons of each. So, first of all, if you have something where you currently live that you really enjoy living in, it's a great part of the United States or Canada or Europe. You have a lot of family and friends there, and you have set up your condo or your apartment just the way you like it. You have all your things, you got your photo albums, your family photos on the wall, and all you're looking to do is come down to Belize 3 months a year and kind of get out of the cold winters. Then you might consider just keeping your home up there and just renting something when you come down to Belize. Now, the con to that is when you want to come down to Belize and get out of the cold and the rain and the snow, is also our peak season. And you're going to be paying top dollar for that privilege of coming down. So if you want to come down, let's say end of December for January, February, and March, you're really going to be paying top dollar. And there's not an easy way to get a bargain because those who own investment properties in Belize, they want to make a good return, obviously, the highest return. And so, especially during those 3 months, they're going to have the prices at their highest, knowing they can get a high price and high occupancy. So, what are your other options? Well, your other option would be to try to find a way to have a place in your home state or in your home country and a place in Belize. So, that might entail buying a condo in Belize, one bedroom, a studio, a two-bedroom condo, somewhere that is within your budget, using that for 3 or 4 months, and then renting that out when you're not there the other 6 to 9 months, and then using that money to sort of fund your flights, fund your food, all your fun throughout the year. So that's a good way to look at it as well. Now, one of the things I will be flat out honest with you on is that if you were looking at buying a condo on Ambergris Caye at one of the many really nice resorts, you need to understand that the return on that investment, if you decide to rent it out, is often a lot less than you would think it should be. So I'm talking after your personal use is accounted for. Okay, well, not let's say not accounting for your personal use. Let's say you buy a condo for 250,000, 350, 450, all the way up to 500,000, and you use that condo maybe 2, 3, 4 months a year during the high season. Now you have 6 to 9 months a year at a little bit lower season, a little bit lower rate to try to make a nice return. But remember, you are paying for your HOA fees, for your hurricane insurances, for your electric bill, your cable, your capital expenditures on the condo from time to time if it needs a major upgrade, fixing the refrigerator, all that kind of things. Plus, in a lot of these resort type complexes, they obviously need to charge a management fee in order to manage that condo when you're not there. That can be 20%, 40%, sometimes 50%, depending on what it includes, what it doesn't. So, what I find is that in my experience, most people that are buying a condo in a beautiful resort complex, for example, like Las Terrazas, like Grand Caribe, like Cocoa Beach, their primary goal is they are purchasing for the lifestyle. When they get down to the island, they want to turn the key, open the door, have their condo ready to go, and it's all about the fun. It's about swimming in the pool. It's about going out fishing and diving. It's about having friends and family come down. They are just buying mainly for the lifestyle benefits. Secondary to that, they are going to rent out their unit when they're not there. And that income then will help cover the annual cost of the HOA fees and the insurances and the utilities and all that kind of good stuff. And it's going to put a little bit of money in their pocket. All right. So it's going to help pay for some flights, the food, all that kind of good stuff. But it's not going to be a purchase that they do mainly for investment because the return is just not that high. It could be, 1, 2, 3%, maybe 4%. And so that's you kind of got to look at that. Now, for this particular person, so for Michael, what I might suggest that you do is first of all, since you're looking at spending 3 or 4 months a year in Belize, come on down and see it. Come on down and take a look at the island, visit the different parts, visit some of the major condo projects that are within your budget, but also take a look at different vacant land opportunities where you might have a home built on. And there's a little bit of a difference between having a home that is rented for example, through an avenue like Airbnb or VRBO, than having a condo in a major resort complex. And I'll kind of go through some of the differences here just to give you an idea of how it works. So, for example, if you buy a property in Mahogany Bay Village, which is a fantastic project, and you have a nice home built, you can build a 3, 4 bedroom, 5 bedroom home, fantastic area, have your boat right at your front door, get your hotel tax license for it, which means you can legally rent it out on Airbnb. Now, you still have to cover some of those annual expenses like your utilities and your insurance and all that. But now you have a unit that you are more in control of. So you're a little bit more in control of the experience that the renter is going to have, because depending on how you fit it out, how you furnish it, what's included in the rental, what's not, you can drive traffic yourself to the unit. And maybe you have a built-in database where you can do that with. So, for example, Steph and I are going to be meeting with a couple of different architects when we're down there in March, and we're going to be determining exactly what we want to build on our property in Mahogany Bay Village and a couple of properties that we own at Secret Beach. Now, what we're going to build in each area are going to be completely different from one another because they're going to be completely different experiences and they're going to cater to different people. Now, what we plan on doing then with those units is that when we go back to Belize, every few months or so, we're going to have our own place to stay at. So either it's in Mahogany Bay or it's in Secret Beach, or excuse me, it's on one of our beachfront lots down south. So ultimately, we're going to have 3 personal homes, at least 3. And then when we're not there, because of the kind of work I'm in, this is what I do for a living, as I work with people that are buying and investing, moving to Belize. We have the advantage of having a built-in database of clients that we can keep those 3 properties full with renters, even at a discounted rate, because I always give my clients preferential treatment. So we can keep those 3 properties full when we're not there. The problem some people have is if they are relying on a third party management company to do their marketing, to do their sales, to drive traffic to that unit, then how good a management company are they? Have they shown a proven track record? And even if they're new in business, they should be able to show you exactly what they plan to do to drive traffic to your unit. And in that way, you can sort of pencil in some numbers and see just what sort of return you might be able to get. So, what I would do is this: I would come down, Michael, and I would look at a couple of distinct areas. I would look at Secret Beach, I would look at Mahogany Bay Village, and I would look at some of the smaller neighborhoods on the northeast side. Especially if you and your wife want to come down and use it 3 or 4 months a year. So I would look at, for example, Flying Fisherman, Spanish Reef. I think those are nice, small little neighborhoods that are currently on grid, so they have access to electricity and internet cable, things like that. And I would also take a look at some of the neighborhoods south, going down further past Mahogany Bay Village. There's the South Ambergris Caye side. That's where Steph and I own our beachfront lots. And I think those neighborhoods are worth checking out. And then within 2 or 3 days of bouncing around the island, you're going to get a really good idea if you want to be in Belize. Now, if you do, then you can make the numbers work, right? If Belize isn't for you, then go back to Cabo or go to Costa Rica. But first of all, since you're doing this for the lifestyle, you want to get out of the cold winters and the rain, and you want to enjoy yourself, then it's all about where are you going to find the most enjoyment. If it's Cabo, fantastic, man. If it's Playa del Carmen or Cozumel or Tulum, if that's your thing, then go there. But when it comes to investment, if you're looking for a financial return, then you really got to look in and see, where does it make sense to invest? Where are my numbers going to give me the highest return? And as an example, just kind of put this in the mix. Let's say you do end up wanting to go to Cabo and you decide, you know what? I can rent something for 3 months in Cabo fairly reasonably, but I don't necessarily want to buy something in Mexico. Maybe I'm not comfortable owning in Mexico, maybe because of the way their real estate laws are set up. You might look at investing on Ambergris Caye in an area that gives you the maximum financial return. All right. So again, you're buying not for the lifestyle in Belize, but you're buying for the financial return. And so now your goal has shifted. Now, when you come down to Belize, you're saying, okay, where can I get the biggest return for my money? Where can I put some cash? Is it in vacant land at Secret Beach? Is it in Mahogany Bay? Is it in properties on the northeast side? Where can I get the most significant returns? And I'm just buying for the financial return. And then with that money, I might never go to Belize. I might want to spend all my winters in Cabo or Costa Rica or in Europe or in Greece. Who knows, right? So you got kind of got to look at those things too. So I hope this gives you a little bit of information to think about. And I do believe that moving forward, the Airbnb market on Ambergris Caye is going to be just rock solid. It's taking a little bit of time for some clients to work their way through the Belize Tourism Board process. So once they get their home complete, furnished, turnkey ready, then there's several inspections that have to be done. There's licenses that have to be approved. But once that's done, I tell you what, Ambergris Caye is just going to continue to be a booming destination for lots of reasons. And I highly suggest, if at all possible, if it fits in with your comfort level of how you want to invest, look at some type of investment on Ambergris Caye. All right, let me go back to Michael's email, see if I missed anything. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, why don't we conclude there, Michael, with your questions? And now I want to go to another email, Manuel and Taline. All right, so they said they've recently discovered our videos, so they've been going down the rabbit hole. So fantastic. Now, one of the things that they mentioned is that they would like to purchase something in Belize. It might be a little bit of a ways out now, but they're looking at the possibility of financing something now compared to waiting for a year or two. They're asking, kind of what should they do? This couple is also from Canada, and it says, would they recommend trying to visit the island before buying? And so let me kind of give my answers to some of these questions. First of all, do I think they should try to purchase something now, even if they have to use financing, or should they wait and pay cash? Well, there's a couple of things to think about when it comes to this. First of all, you got to consider, is the properties you're looking at, do they come with any sort of scarcity or any sort of urgency? In other words, if you're looking at an area and there's just not much for sale, and there's probably not going to be a whole lot for sale because it's an attractive area, and a lot comes up on the market, you're probably going to want to try to jump on it as soon as you can if you know you like that area, because there's a scarcity to the properties themselves. If there's no scarcity, there's plenty of these properties available, then you got to say to yourself, okay, even if there's plenty properties available, what are the prices going to be like 12 to 24 months from now? And even if there are a lot of properties available, that doesn't mean that the price is going to stay the same or go down. In fact, what happens a lot of times is, let's say a developer has 100 lots in the market, right? Let's say a new subdivision comes up, 100 lots go on the market, and the lots go for 50,000. Oftentimes, once the developer sells 25% of those lots or 35% of those lots, he has an automatic price increase because he already has a proven concept. All right, people like the area, they like what he has to sell, and so he sells. Let's say he sells 25 of these lots at 50 grand. Boom, price is going to go up to 60, 65. The next 25 are going to sell at 60 to 65. Again, once those are sold, more people have confidence in the area. They're not the first buyers now. There are plenty of people that have done their homework, come into the area, like the area. Again, proof of concept, prices will go up again, 70, 75, 80, and so on and so forth. So don't just look at an area and say, wow, there's a lot of lots for sale. I should be able to pick up something 2 years from now for the same price. It's not necessarily true. Now, the flip side of that is, for example, right now, especially in the Grand Belizean Estates and the Palmyra Woods and the Grand Mayan subdivisions. Right now, in the past 30 to, let's say, 45 days, Israel and I have wrote several deals that what I would consider to be just a tad under market value. All right. So we've been selling lots for 30,000 with financing, which is almost unheard of in Grand Belize anymore. I mean, this is, we did this back in the day, say 4, 5, 6 years ago. Since then, prices have gone significantly higher. But right now, people are selling for different reasons. Some people are putting kids through college. Some people want a little bit of a down payment for a home they're buying in the United States or Canada, and so they have been willing to drop their prices a little bit in order to sell those properties. So let me just show you a couple of those now. Let me pull up what I have, because I have three properties: two in Grand Belize, one in Grand Mayan, and all of them I consider to be really, really good deals, under market value. Give me a minute here while I pull this up. And they come with financing. All right. Let's see this here. All right. So these properties that I'm going to show you, okay, that one's sold. There we go. Let me show you this. They're 7938, 7939. All right, so two parcels side by side, 7938, 7939. They're 60 by 80 each. And these lots are now going for 30,000 US dollars per lot. And the seller will finance them with $30,000 down. Or excuse me, $30,000 down, $10,000 down. So you put $10,000 down, you're left with a balance of 20,000. You can take up to 10 years to pay those off at 10% interest. It makes it fairly easy for a person to purchase. All right, they don't have to put $10,000 down plus 1,500 or 2,000 closing costs. They can finance the balance. So these two lots here, I think, are really, really good deals and worth looking at. The other one that I wanted to show you, just to give you an option here. Okay, that's sold. So if you guys are looking at Palmyra Woods, 10305 and 10306, both of those sold. So those two sold. Let's see, 7745, it's sold. And we also have, what do we have here? We have 7429. 7429 is also a really good lot in Grand Belize Estates. It's just 4 lots off the main road. And now that one is going for $35,000 with financing. All right. So it's a little bit higher from 30 to 35, but it's in a great location, fantastic location. And it's a beautiful property, just a beautiful lot. The other one I wanted to show you, let me see, 10651, which is in Grand Mayan Estates, parcel 10651. That lot has also been dropped in price. All right, so contact me if you want that. Grand Mayan Estates, 10651. It was listed at 40. The seller dropped the price to 35, and there might even be a little bit of a wiggle room on that. Now, if you're looking for something much, much closer to the beach, because the properties I just talked about are about a mile away from Secret Beach and about a mile and a quarter away from the east side beaches. Let me show you this deal. All right, so there's two fourth row lots at Secret Beach. They're parcels 8545 and 8546. These are large lots. So the ones I just talked about in Grand Belize, Grand Mayan, those are typically 60 by 80. This is 65 by 118. There's these two side-by-side lots right here. Now these are 115,000 per lot, and this has a 10-10-30 payment option on it. So 10% down, 10% interest for up to 30 years to pay, and the monthly payment is 90829. All right, 90829. Now, a question has come up from several of our clients about credit checks or credit reporting. So when you finance a property in Belize, and this goes for any of you looking to finance in Belize, we don't run any credit checks, and there's no reporting of the debt to the IRS or to any Canadian institution. So if you purchase a property through a seller in Belize, that's a private contract between you and the seller. So that doesn't get reported anywhere. So it doesn't reflect your credit score. And so one of my sellers said, "Well, how do I have a comfort level with my buyer? I don't know who they are. They're just some random person buying my property." That's true. But if you notice in our contracts, and I've covered this in detail in some of my other videos, the contracts that we write in Belize are very protective of both the seller and the buyer. All right. So both parties, when they read the contract, normally they say, "You know what, this is good. It's good for me. It's good for both parties." And so if a person, for example, shows up and they can put their 10% down or 15 or 20% down, and they're in a position to move forward with this, most of the time, you're not going to have any issues. All right. Once in a while, that buyer may fall on hard times. They could lose their job. They could have a transfer of work. Their pay could be decreased somewhat. In that case, there's several things that we can do to work with them. Again, I won't go into that in detail in this video, but there's several things that I do working with my buyers. If they fall on hard times, there's different things we can set up. Maybe I'll cover that in a different video. So let me go back. Let me go back to this email from Manuel. All right, so Manuel, what would I recommend for you? I would recommend that we jump on a Zoom call. And before we do that, take a look at your finances and try to come up with a reasonable amount that you are able and willing to put down on the property that isn't going to be a stretch for you, right? It's not going to cause you any pain. It's not going to cause the family any hardship, right? But say, what is that number? What do you have to work with currently? Is it $3,000, five, 10? And then what type of monthly payment could you be looking at making? And finally, I guess more importantly, what is the purchase going to be for? Are you going to want to build on it someday to create memories, family, friends, loved ones? You want to come down, enjoy Belize, and enjoy the island, or is this purchase more of a financial investment, almost like investing in a company or a stock, where you're just looking for the biggest return on your money? Let me know what you're buying for and the approximate amount of money that you have to work with. With that, I'll see what we have that might work for you guys. We can jump on a Zoom call, talk about some of your options. All right, guys. All right, man. I know I've been long in this email or in this video, but wanted to get back to these specific clients. And then we got more coming up. I'm going to put a couple more videos out this week talking to other clients about what they're looking to do, giving them some tips and tricks and maybe how to maneuver things in their best interest. And then I'm also going to be talking about our schedule of all the good things we have planned on Ambergris Caye. All right, guys. So you take care. Thanks for watching and hope to see you real soon.